Hi, welcome along. It's Darren here from DR Coaching, and today we are about to embark on our 3-day challenge for having more time and energy as a parent. So I'm going to give everyone a few minutes to jump on, and I'd invite you to grab pen and paper and a wee glass of water for the live. If anyone has any questions throughout, please do just drop it in the comments and I'll either answer them at the end, or if it's appropriate I'll answer them as and when we're going. And as I've already said, this video will be recorded and reposted, so anyone that can't make it along will be able to re-watch, which is awesome. I didn't actually manage to do this in the event created because I think the time for the starting of this event was 3 o'clock, and I wasn't able to edit that, so I hope that hasn't caused anyone any issues. Okay, we'll just get started. So just as a little recap for anyone that didn't watch or participate in my first Facebook Live, the first Facebook Live was all about the 3 stages to success for having more time and energy as a parent. So number 1 was planning for success, number 2 was prioritising yourself, and number 3 was setting the intention. So over the next 3 days, I'm going to break down each 3 of them steps even further, give you some hints and tips on how to implement them into your life, and after every live, you'll have the opportunity to have some journaling sessions sent out to you via email. So if you'd like them, please drop me your email and I'll send them over to you after the live. We'll then have an opportunity to discuss them at the start of each session, and anyone that wants to share anything from their journaling session, or if there's any questions, I'll answer them before we start the next session. So planning for success. So the question I'd like to ask to start with is, how often do you start something and maybe within a few weeks or even a few days give it up? And it's really simple, and it's a really easy thing to do, that we start something with no real plan, no real direction, or no clarity on why we've started it in the first place. The initial excitement wears off really quickly and we throw it, and that's it, it's done. And the reason for that is because there's no plan. You haven't asked yourself why. You haven't found clarity on why you started that in the first place. So the surface clarity is a really easy one in terms of you maybe want to go to the gym because you want to get fit. Okay, so why do you want to get fit? So I want to get fit so I look better. Okay, so why do you want to look better? And you keep asking yourself why and why and why, like a toddler, until you get to the core of why you want to get fit in the first place. So that's a really basic example to start with. So willpower only lasts for so long. So when we start something new, the reason we give up is because our willpower runs out. It's no longer exciting, we're no longer motivated. The dopamine levels that we get from the initial starting of something begin to drop and we give up. So we have to find clarity and we have to create habits, because habits are lasting, willpower doesn't last. So the quality of your decisions determines the quality of your life, and values drive your decisions. So I would invite you to ask yourself, what is important in your life? What do you value? And that is a great way to start figuring out what's important to you. What do you value? What's the hierarchy of your value base, and why is that? So the first step for planning for myself is about vision. So what is your vision? So what would you like life to look like in 6 months' time? And the reason I ask that, and invite you to ask yourself that question, and it is in part of the journaling later on, is that if you can envision what you would like life to look like in 6 months' time, and then work backwards. So how would that person act? How would that person be? What would the decision making be like? What behaviours would they display? And then you can work back. So you have a starting point, which is now. You have, in 6 months' time, I would like life to look like this. And then we can start to bridge that gap. So, what you would like life to look like in 6 months' time. You want it to be scary. You want it to spark emotion. Maybe even almost make you cry or jump up and down with excitement. You want it to be out with your comfort zone, because nothing great is ever created in your comfort zone. So when it comes to a personal vision statement, I currently have 2 vision statements. I have one for my personal life and I also have one for my business. And I'm actually looking to incorporate the 2 into one to make myself one bold vision statement. So I've shared my personal vision statement before, and for the purpose of the video and to give you a sort of live example, I'm going to share my vision statement with you now. So my personal vision is to prioritise my time to create an energetic, loving and healthy environment for my children and I by constantly prioritising myself and allowing myself to become the best version of me. Every day, sorry, missed out every day. So that's my personal vision, and the reason for that, I want to create an energetic, loving and healthy environment is because, as I discussed in the first live, is that I'm a role model for my kids. So if I can create that sort of environment, my children are more likely to role model that, them actions and them behaviours. Okay, so we have a vision, and part of your journaling exercise later on will be to create your own vision. And if anyone has any questions or any further information they want on visions, please drop me a message or even just fire in a quick Google search. I typed in vision statements earlier on Google, and there's hundreds of companies out there that all have vision statements, and they're really easy to access. So you can get some hints and tips from there. Okay, so you now have a vision. You now know what you want life to look like in 6 months' time. So how are you going to achieve that? So you're going to achieve that by setting some goals. Okay, so when it comes to goals, they have to align with your vision. So there's no point in having goals that don't align you with your vision, or you won't ever achieve your vision. I always say to set 3 goals. If you set any more than 3 goals, it becomes overwhelming, it becomes complicated, and really we want to make life simple. We don't want to overcomplicate things, we don't want to make them too difficult. And we also need to make them very specific and clear, because if they're not specific and clear and don't align with your vision, as I said previously, you're going to end up on a different tangent. So how do you achieve your goals? You achieve your goals by creating tactics. So a quote that I have, and I actually have it on the notice board in my bedroom, is that you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. So what does that mean? That means that you could have fantastic goals, but if your systems aren't robust and clear and structured, then you're never going to achieve your goals. So I could say that one of my goals is to make 10 grand a month. Well, how am I going to make £10,000 a month? One of my goals could be, I want to run a marathon tomorrow. How am I going to run a marathon tomorrow? So that's where your tactics come into place. So your tactics are about how you achieve your goal. So I'm going to give you an example. So let's use the marathon, for example. So if a part of your vision statement was to be running a marathon within the next 6 months, and one of your goals was to go out for a run every day. But to start with, we're going to keep it really simple. So the goal would be, I'm going to start with a 10-minute run. So how do your tactics align with your goals, which then align with your vision? So tactic number 1 could be that I'm going to lay my running stuff out the night before. Tactic number 2 could be that I'm going to set my alarm away from the side of my bed so that I actually have to physically get up and turn the alarm off so I'm already up. And tactic number 3 could be that I'm going to have my breakfast prepped for me coming back, so that when I come back, breakfast is there and then I can continue with my day. So can you see how the 3 tactics align with the goal. They make the goal then become much clearer, much simpler. We're not overcomplicating anything, but that goal aligns with the vision of then running a marathon within 6 months. So I know what some people might be thinking, that, you know what, Darren, I just go with the flow. I don't need to set goals. I don't need to have a vision. I just enjoy life on a daily basis. And that's fine. That's okay. But what I would say is that without a plan, without a vision, without goals, you will end up somewhere. But that somewhere might not be where you want to be. So you have to think about that. Okay, so I'm aware I've went through that pretty quickly. We've spoken about vision, we've spoken about goals, we've spoken about tactics. The next stage is to review. Because without review, without a time scale, these visions just stay as dreams. So we have to set a time scale, we have to review and adapt, because without that, they will just always be a dream. So far, has anyone got any questions? So far, so good. No questions, that's great. I'll give you a couple of minutes just in case anyone's thinking of anything. I'm aware there's only a couple of people on at the moment, which is absolutely fine. And if there's no questions, that's absolutely fine. Hi Ross, thanks for coming along. As I said earlier on, that this video will be reposted on Facebook and hopefully on Instagram as well. So if anyone's missed it, they can go back and watch it. And also, as I said earlier on, the journaling sessions will be available and I'll send them over via email. So if anybody wants them for tonight, then please do drop me your email and I'll send them over to you. And the journaling sessions will get you really thinking and brainstorming about what is important to you, why it's important to you, what you currently value, why you value that, and giving you a clear plan and clarity on what you could achieve in the next 6 months. Okay, it's looking like we don't have any questions, which is absolutely fine. So I'll leave it at that for today. And as I said, if anyone would like the journaling sessions that hasn't already sent me their email address, then please send me a quick message and I will fire them over to you. Tomorrow's session is at 1 o'clock as well, and tomorrow's session will be on prioritising yourself. This is something that I've personally found difficult over the years, and it's a journey that I'm still on at the moment. And I know, having spoke to lots of individuals, that prioritising yourself is something that as humans we all find difficult. The guilt of looking after yourself rather than your children, it just doesn't sit right. But we'll get into that further tomorrow. Okay, I'll leave it at that. Thanks everyone for coming along. If anyone has any questions, drop me a message, and as I said, I'll be back on live at 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon to discuss prioritising you. Thank you, bye bye.